back to my YouTube channel, Samriti Lakhwani for you guys. And today I'm back with another YouTube video on O-level series. So I appeared for Islamat paper in May-June 2025, and as expected, I got an A star. So here's my video to tell you guys and guide you guys how to get an A star in the exam. So even if it's like 1 month remaining in your exam, you guys can ace it because I did. You know, there were a lot of subjects that I was giving altogether, and it had become very difficult for me to manage Islamic and that. But eventually, I prepared for it in last month, and I aced the exam. So I'm going to tell you guys some tricks and tips which you guys can apply in order to, you know, plan your exam nicely, because I have been, planning my exams since starting, and that's why I think I've gotten good grades since. So, the first thing will be the consistency. Even I said that I prepared for this exam in the last month, but it was more like that I did complete my syllabus before the last month, because completing your syllabus is the most important thing. I've seen a lot of students leaving their syllabus behind, and they're like, ye to aayega hi nahi. This is the constant thing that students use, which I think is okay, but in the last 2 weeks, but not in the, before like 3 weeks, like ye to aayega hi nahi, so I'm not going to study, you know. So what the first thing that I did was to actually learn the entire thing, or to complete it at least, which is the first thing that you guys can do. The second thing that you guys can do is actually look into the past papers and solve them, not write them out there, but actually see the question and think in your mind that okay, you can solve this. If a question arrives in your exam, what will you do out of it? So that's the second thing. The third thing will be to check out the syllabus. You should know what examiner wants. There's certain pattern to write some answers. Like if there's a 4 marker question and if there's a 14 marker question, there's a difference how to write it. And the syllabus actually tells you what examiner expects from you. I remember, like, I applied this trick in my Pakistan studies paper, and after that I applied this trick like from all of the exams, so I can actually ace it, and it's been helping me a lot. I have seen what examiner expects, actually check the mock exams, give mock exams, and check the answers given by students before. Like, you guys can search on Google the best answers for certain questions, and check that and check how the students actually write some, when you read some certain things. Like, for instance, if this is a question that tell us about the early prophethood and life of prophet and early days. So write your answer and check another answer which is written by a well structured student. So when you compare these two answers, you'll definitely know what's wrong with you or what's not, and what's wrong with the student as well. So yeah, that can actually help you as well. Check the syllabus, you know see what examiner expects from you. This I have think, I have some cousins and I have some friends who actually have great knowledge. They put their good efforts, but because they don't know how to structure their answer well, they usually miss marks and they don't get good grades. So this is something I've noticed, and this is something that we will definitely recommend you guys to work on. Other than that, it's okay if you leave some certain things in your paper, or while preparing for it as well, because if it's like your last month and you're stuck and you don't know to do anything. Like, I remember, like, it was last month, and there were certain topics that I couldn't really study, like the namaz and the prayer, because being a Hindu, it got very difficult for me. Like, my Muslim friends were like, "Oh, that's like a, so easy for us. That's a piece of cake for us." But for me, it was like something very bad. Not very bad, but something I couldn't just do it. It was just, I remember I only had 10 days left in my exam, and I had my paper one, and I was working on some other things as well that time. So I eventually left prayers and I didn't study it, which was biggest, um, turnover. And it's something that the biggest risk that I took, while preparing for this exam. I was just praying that namaz doesn't come in paper, or if it's come, I'm going to leave it. Because we have one choice in the paper. So I make sure that if I'm leaving something, I'm not leaving all other things. But if you guys remember, then 2024 May, October, November paper, Hajj came. Yeah, that was like a fourth or fifth question. So I left Hajj as well. So you guys can leave some topics which appeared in the last paper. You know, um, it's okay. It's not going to arrive once again, because I know it's not going to arrive once again. And if it arrives once again, it's okay, because while you give mock exams in your school, you already have prepared for those topics. Your school actually prepares you for those topics during the mock test. So even if it's come and you don't know anything, you'll know and you'll eventually write it and get good grades. So I didn't waste my time in that, because I really didn't have time. I was just, eventually, Islamiyat not being a very good subject to me, it had become very difficult that time. And I definitely can feel a lot of you um at this position, that you guys cannot do more, but you need to. And if I talk about specific papers, like paper one, which is like history of Quran, and the entire early life to all the Medina journey that of Prophet, I think I literally didn't leave anything in that paper. I studied every single thing. There was not a topic that I didn't leave, but there was a topic which is called the letters to the emperors, which was the most shocking thing for everyone. Everyone in that particular session of May June, because as expected, a lot of students left it, and they didn't learn it because it had never appeared before. So I did the same, but I am someone who actually, when someone learn I am someone who learns, but learns is like a story. So I had remembered stuff about that in the back of my mind. So even if I had chosen that question, I could have answered it well. So that was like a confidence that I had in myself. So uh, um you know um a recommendation from myself will definitely be to actually go through everything, and keep it in your mind. After the exam, you guys can't forget it. It is the truth. You guys should do that, because you never know that when examiner surprises you. So yeah, so that's what we did. And in my paper, I didn't appear for that question. I left it behind, because that was like a new question. And I don't know, I did panic that time when I saw that question. I was like, huh? How the hell the examiner gave this question? But then there was another question about Hazrat Abu Talib and one more personality, and I appeared for that question. I wrote that question, but a good, a very bad thing that happened to me was, I had this information about Hazrat Abu Talib, but there was another personality whose name I don't remember at all. If you guys might be checking past papers, you might know who was the one who drew Khandak in the Battle of Trench. And I really didn't remember a lot of information about him. And I eventually just wrote 3 to 4 lines about him. And the question was about like 10 marks. I knew a lot of things about Hazrat Abu Talib. And eventually, I appeared for this question. I got an A star and got very good marks in paper one as well. So even if I did a mistake of like just writing very small thing about a personality when the question was mainly about that, and I wrote more about Hazrat Abu Talib, and shaped my words in a way that probably examiner didn't caught me to that, but I did that and got a good grade. So even if you don't know specific thing mainly about that, like I knew a lot about the personality, but I wasn't sure that this is mainly about their personality or not, because in the exam on the Islamic syllabus, there are already a lot of personalities that you learn about, and you eventually get confused. And that's the same thing that happened to me. So even if things like this happens to you, it's okay. I think you'll probably make it through that. So that was my paper one. And if I talk about like my paper two, so I already told you guys that I left Hajj and the prayers. But a very good thing that I did that time was to actually prepare for Eid prayer and Friday prayer, like some specific prayers I worked on, and that appeared in my exam, and I attempted that question. And then there are some battles like those four caliphs in the paper too, that a lot of students leave. Like there's four caliphs. So I remember I didn't prepare for the first caliph because I had seen some past papers like 2024 October, November, 2024 May, June. So the has Abdul Abu Bakr Siddiq, and it was more about him in those 2024 paper. The questions were about him. So I eventually left it because I thought the examiner might not give questions like that, like same questions everywhere, because students might be prepared. So I took a big risk and I didn't study the first caliph, and my all friends were like, what the hell are you doing? And I was like, um just let it be, I cannot study more. But I remember I studied those other three caliphs religiously. I remembered all the dates, all the battles, and I remember the question didn't came from those four caliphs at all. There was one question about a battle. Um, Probably that was Battle of Siffin. I don't remember the question, you know, but it was like the fourth question. I eventually left it. I didn't did it. So my mehnat was like all wasted, but never mind, I did that. So out of all you guys can learn is like, if you make blunders in your exam, it's okay, just kind of that time believe in yourself. I remember I panicked a lot and everyone was like, what do you like this? Yeah. So the exam, so the invigilator was I remember, when I saw the paper I was like, "Eh." And the invigilator was like, what happened, can you keep quiet? I was like, okay. So even if you make blunders, things can turn beautifully if you be in the right mind that time, and answer it well. And about the paper too, you guys can leave things, but you should make sure that you don't leave things very important. You guys can check some past papers and make a mock paper of yours. I remember at the end of 5 days I made a mock paper of mine and worked on it. Even that, if I tell you guys about, there are a lot of tutors, like online tutors, who give mock papers. Like MYM, he gave a mock paper, so I did check his mock paper and prepared well from that as well. And now moving towards another session and another part of Islamic paper, which is some ahadith of paper 2 and those Quranic passages and how to prepare for that. So I remember like a lot of students, including me, um, are very tensed about this, like the how to write it, like we eventually never get it. But then I followed some tricks and followed some online tutors like MYM. He told us that you just need to write one Quranic verse in that, and other than that, nothing. Because I've seen someone telling that you guys need to write a lot of Quranic verses in that and stuff, and then examiner will give you exams. No, there's nothing like that. When you read that Quranic passage, just try to understand it, try to understand, there's like main themes. Of course, describe the main theme. You just don't need to write that this is the surah and the surah number and stuff like that, but it's just mainly that you have to describe it, right? And when you describe it, add a verse in it, and it's very easy, and you don't have enough space while you're writing. I remember I wanted to write a lot, but I didn't have enough space. But if even if I didn't have enough space, I didn't have enough time, because there are always some blunders and surprises that examiner gives you, and that happened to me as well. But eventually, that can happen to you as well. So you guys can write till at least like a paragraph of like 8 lines or 9 lines. I think that's enough. That's more than enough. And just make sure that you're not adding whatever lines, that Allah is this, Allah is that, but specific things. I remember I didn't prepare for these Quranic passages. I just learned the context. I remember I was sitting in my car and I was like revising everything, but it's just that you don't really need to prepare for that. But if you're like someone who needs to be very much ready, you should do that. If you're like a bit confused. And if I talk about ahadis, it follows the same pattern. And yeah, that's how you guys can actually work on that. So in this video, I've actually told you guys about everything, about the blunders that I made that I've not told anyone, even if my family. But this is like a real experience of mine while giving this exam. And a lot of things, a lot of people don't talk about it, but I did talk about it. And I really hope, if something like that happens to you, I don't hope that something like happens to you, but if it even happens to you, and even if it's like 1 month remaining to your exam, my camera is like falling down. So even if like this 1 month, even you make some blunders, and every person makes some blunders in the exam, so you don't need to panic and just believe in yourself that time, be in the right mind, and write the correct questions and work on the well structured exams, like well structured answers, because that's what examiner wants. This is the only thing that I've recommended everyone, to work well on your answers, because as always there are certain people who have great knowledge but they cannot write it in a well structure, so they usually miss some points. So yeah, so that was all about my YouTube video and how I got an A star, and that's how I prepared for my exam. um but I really hope you guys got some help from my video, got some hope, or probably some motivation, or probably got some spooky vibes, or probably got some scared, not got some, got scared listening to my experience. But yeah, that it was. And if you like this video and found it a bit funny or helpful, just subscribe my channel, like this video, and I'll probably be back with another video. And yeah, I'm in Japan for having fun, and learning new things about Japanese culture, living my exchange life, and probably will give you a video on that as well. Thank you.